In a moment I'm going to give you my personal review on what I thought of the movie. If you want to stick around until the end, I'll give you a little opinion based on my 35 plus years in the film industry, both in front of and behind the camera, and most jobs behind. Also my experience and knowledge I've gained, especially in regard to the effects in this movie and other movies as well, plus my opinion on that. But first, a quick prequel of going to this private screening and a little bit of information about the movie. It was released last week in the States. It was supposed to be released later this week in Australia. However, there was a debacle between the cinemas over there, and they wanted to reduce the screening of this movie to, I think, 5 days or 10 days, which obviously and justifiably pissed Tom Cruise off. So he tried to negotiate they get an extra 5 days at the beginning. Anyway, that's why he came last weekend to Sydney for the premiere. So this was to be a pre-release screening that I went to, but turns out it wasn't. It was opened a few days before. Anyway, let's check that out. Well, this was unplanned. I was going to see that film, but instead I'm going to see a private screening of another one, the latest Mission Impossible, which, well, I don't know. I'll watch it and let you know my honest opinion either way after the movie. Sponsored by these people, actually. But first, my mandatory thing, if I'm coming to the movies around lunchtime or dinner in this case, a kebab. In this case, my standard thing, lamb with extra meat. It's gone up a lot in price. Very tasty as usual. Well, normally I'd get popcorn, but it's now $15 for a small one, so I ain't going to get any of that. No, I was wrong. That was a combination, so I did get one. I'll just get a bit of B-roll for that.
Yeah, sure. You're going to take a poster too if you like.
Take a poster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love you to.
Alright. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
I'll let you know what it's like after the movie. Very comfortable seats, actually. Not bad popcorn. Okay, so let's get into the movie. Okay, so this is part one. There's a part two to come, obviously. Now, I haven't seen, I don't think, Mission Impossible Part 6. When I'm watching this film, I'm thinking, how would this be as a standalone film if you hadn't seen any previous Mission Impossible?
Greater good are over. This is our chance to control the truth, the concepts of right and wrong.
I think it was okay. If you like action films, I think you'll like this one. I've seen so many over the years, I'm not a huge fan, but it was okay, it was fine. My biggest critique, I guess, for me personally, and it's always a personal thing when you're watching a movie, is how you feel at the time when you watch it, how tired you are. I think the biggest thing was that it's, I found some of the scenes had way too much dialogue. It was just stretched out way too much. However, having said that, there were some good scenes in it. That's the scene with the little Fiat 500, it was quite good. I liked it. I didn't mind the car scene. I know someone said to me they thought it went too long, but there was some humour in there as well, especially with the little Fiat 500 that wasn't electric, but it was in the film. So obviously there are some trailers out there. Now I'll get to the stunt in a minute, a little bit of
Scream.
We are ready. The key is
And that was for sure a very dramatic jump scene.
There's no speedometer, so I do it by sound and feel of the bike. And then as I depart the bike, I'm using the wind that's hitting me here, and I'm cupping my chest. That will give me lift. Thank you all very much for your help, guys.
I'm frankly very worried that Tom Cruise is going to end up killing himself.
This is far and away the most dangerous thing we've ever attempted.
We've been working on this for years. We're gonna shoot it in Norway, and it'll be a motorcycle jump off a cliff into a base jump. I wanted to do it since I was a little kid. It all comes down to one thing: the audience.
Now, there's a lot of movie magic, as I've always called it, behind the scenes, that, I pretty well know how it's all done. The best type of movie, I say, is a composite with a mixture of CGI, real footage, and some movie magic, which most good films do these days. Okay, so that scene he really did do. Yes, they had some practice runs of probably 15 attempts with cables, but that last one was a base jump.
Tom Cruise just rode a motorcycle off a cliff.
And I'll tell you what, the drone operators, and there's two of them for that sort of drone, way better than anything I'll ever be able to do in my life. Spectacularly shot. There was a helicopter there with a hot head, and a cameraman falling in front of him as well, which was painted out in certain scenes. Now, my opinion of this is CGI is so good now, if done properly, and yes, it's very expensive. I think there was no need to do that. Yes, it looks wonderful with the overshot looking down of Tom Cruise flying off the cliff, and certainly in the cinema you go, whoa. But I really think that's just a little bit too risky to do in real life, for the fact it went maybe 15 seconds. Cost an awful lot of money, but beside the point, CGI is just so good now, you probably could have got away with doing that and just use a little wind tunnel type effect, not effect, an actual shooting on the ground, blowing his cheeks and everything. So anyway, it was well done, but I think he's pushing the envelope way too much these days. Unlike Top Gun, which the remake was the last time I went to the movies to see that, a lot of people think he was actually flying that fighter jet. He wasn't, but that's a different video.
Oh my god.
Hang on!
Ethan!
Go, go, go!
So some of the things that I don't know if I would say you needed to see the previous episode.
Stay out of my way.
For me, there were at least 3 or 4 characters that I had no idea who they were.
Oh, I like her.
There were a couple of very, very tiny continuity errors and things that were very obvious to people that have been making films or involved in it for a long time. But to 99.99% of the audience, they'd never noticed.
It will take your breath away.
Ethan, did you make it? Are you okay?
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
So that's my basic opinion. Would I go and see it if I wasn't going to go as a viewer of this sequel, if you want to call it that? I probably would, and it's not too bad. I wasn't disappointed when the movie finished because I was quite happy to leave. To be honest, if they wanted to, they could have put part 2 that's probably already shot and in the can, just in post-production now. They could have fitted that all into one movie if they truncated a little bit of the talking in scenes, which I felt waffled on a bit too much, and they could have just spent 10 minutes completing. what's coming up in number 2, or part 2, which will be Mission Impossible number 8. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of a different sort of video for me. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment if you think you'd go and see the movie, or if you have seen the movie. Okay, cheers. My next video I'll talk to you about my favourite films, all-time favourite films, because I've been asked a few times about that. I'll see you then.